Colbyjack.net is proud to present From the Flames by Trisha M. Wilson. The people of the fire, the Blesa, led by their queens, have ruled the island of Alfeyju and oppressed the Driva, the people of the ice, for more than 16 generations. With the Drivian King in hiding and little hope on the horizon, the Driva looked to one person to save them from the vile Blesa, the Diviana. According to legend, the divinely gifted Diviana will one day overthrow the Blesa and restore the Drivian King to his rightful throne. But with the search having lasted for more than 400 years, will the Diviana ever come to light? Willow is the slave of the Raskpil family. But at the age of 4, 20 years have passed since her life irrevocably changed. Her existence is no worse than any other slave, but within, Willow wonders if there isn't something more she should be doing with her life other than serving the ungrateful. Ordered to travel with her master's family to Sondertoft, so her master's adult children can take part in an ancient rite of passage, Willow is shocked when she learns that she too must participate. Will she fail, as all before her have? Will she rise to the challenge and become stronger after passing through the flames? From the Flames, Episode 26, Chapter 14, Leaving Safety. Willow, Hawk, and Sigurd were very quiet the next morning. Up before the sun had begun to rise, the harsh words and surprising revelations from the prior night still hung oppressively over them. Only Astrid remained unaffected. On the contrary, she was in uncommonly good spirits. "I had a vision last night," Astrid said as the three of them stood by their horses. "You will succeed in all your journeys, and do even more than was originally foretold. When you are finished, all will know your names and cheer you for what you have done." "Are your visions usually right?" Sigurd asked, breaking his stony silence. "They are. A few details may change depending on an individual's choices, but on the whole, my visions are accurate," Astrid said, now digging into her bag. Pulling out 3 vials, she gave the first one to Sigurd. "Think well before you act, or else one foolhardy action will be the end of you." Moving to Hawk, she gave him his vial and said, "Express your feelings before it is too late, otherwise you will be filled with regret." Finally, she turned to Willow. "Your heart is loyal and true to those you love. However, be sure to keep your heart safe and barred against those to whom betrayal is commonplace. They shall be the ones to hurt you the most." "I will, mistress. Thank you for all you've taught me. If we can, we'll come back soon to visit," Willow promised as she gave Astrid a hug. "Don't worry about me, child," Astrid said, patting her back before releasing Willow from her embrace. "I can protect myself against anything that comes my way. Now, all of you, on your horses." Astrid waited for them to mount before she said, "Drink your vial just before you pass through the mist. The vial has the power to conceal you and your steed for only 4 hours, so make the best of that time. I suggest you stay at a walk until you are sure you're clear of our visitors. Be cautious, for the potion only conceals your bodies, not any sounds you make, and you can be injured if they attack you." Looking up to the sky, she said, "You'll hit the boundary by the time the sun starts to rise. They will not be expecting you so early." Stepping out of their way, she said, "May the gods protect you." "And you," Hawk said, bringing his horse to lead position. "Goodbye, mistress," Willow said, her horse behind Hawk. At the end of the line, Sigurd said, "Thanks for everything." Without another word, their horses started along the road toward the boundary and the outside world. They'd only been riding a minute when Sigurd said, "If we're invisible, we won't be able to see each other. How are we going to stick together?" "I'll be able to sense where we are," Willow answered. "But that doesn't solve the real problem," Hawk said, frowning. "We could get horribly separated if we aren't careful." "I can call out instructions since I will be able to sense how far away we are from each other." "So, Sigurd said. Why don't we do something like this? If you call it a name, it means that person is straying from the pack. Then you can say something like ahead or behind, so that person knows whether to slow down or speed up. I can do that, Willow said. And I can also say clear when we're out of danger. Remember, I can sense the enemy too, so I'll know when we're clear of them. Then we can speed up our pace. Good plan, Hawk said, stopping. The boundary mist was directly in front of him. Drink up, he said, saluting them before he drank the contents of his vial. Before Willow and Sigurd's eyes, Hawk melted away into the dawning morning. Not an inch of Hawk or his horse was visible. Willow, however, could still sense him. As one, Sigurd and Willow drank their vials, vanishing along with their mounts as Hawk had before them. Putting her hand down to where Val was strapped, she said to him, You okay? Yep, never been invisible before, but I think I like it. Just think of the fun I could have. Hush now, I need to concentrate, she said. Willow sensed Hawk move. Move! Plunging into the mist, Willow sent out her thoughts, trying to get a feel for how many men were on the other side. Only when they'd completely left safety, however, was she able to get an accurate count. There were 20 men in front of them. 10 were in the treetops lining the road right in front of them. The others were more evenly distributed along the road ahead of them. She was unable to tell how far they went. Turning her attention to her companions, she could tell they were more spaced out than they'd been when they had first passed through the mist. They weren't far enough apart for Will to worry or say anything, however. With every minute that passed uneventfully, Willow felt herself relax a little more. They were about 3/4 of their way past the men when someone sneezed. Willow didn't know if it was Hawk or Sigurd or one of the enemy, but Willow felt the men in the trees grow tense, their attention firmly riveted on the empty road. Please let them think it was one of them, Willow prayed. Let us get out of this area safely and without anyone following us. Please! Hawk and Sigurd wisely kept moving, not pausing for a second. Willow was thankful for their cool-headedness. If she'd been alone, she might have panicked. But having others around who were relying on her kept her head clear and her panic down. It took them half an hour to clear the last man along the road. Willow waited a few minutes more before she said, Clear! Willow sensed when the others started to move more quickly, their horses galloping away from the enemy, and followed their lead. 3 hours later, and 6 different times Willow had to call out because Sigurd fell behind, and Hawk's horse ran faster than the other two. The potion they had taken started to wear off. At first, Willow thought her eyes were deceiving her, for she thought she saw the tail of Hawk's horse flicker from invisible to visible, and then back to invisible again. Interesting effect, Val commented, obviously seeing what she saw. Quite interesting. As the minutes passed, Willow saw more and more of his horse until she finally was able to see Hawk. Looking down at herself, she saw the same flickering going on. Without even turning around, she knew the same would be happening to Sigurd. Her suspicions were confirmed when she heard Sigurd suddenly swear and say, The potion's wearing off. Let's stop by the river to refresh our horses. It'll also take us out of the open. Since we are no longer concealed and don't have the protective barrier, I find myself loath to stand out in the open like a target waiting to be attacked, Hawk said, getting off his horse and guiding it to the river. Willow and Sigurd followed his lead. Do you think they know we're gone? Sigurd asked, sitting on the ground after watering his horse. I didn't sense them following, which they would have done if they'd known we'd sneaked past them. I think they'll stay there for a while, trying to figure out what is going on, Willow said. They won't stay for long, though, Hawk said, leaning against a tree. They'll figure it out quickly, and then we'll be hunted. I say we take a little break now, and then ride as hard and long as we can until we get to Frid Rosa. How long do you think it'll take to get us there? Sigurd asked. 3 or 4 days, depending on how long we ride each day. Are there many towns between here and there? Willow asked. Hawk thought for a second before replying. A few. But we should be able to go around them for the most part. The less contact we have with others, the better, I think. That way our direction and destination will be less obvious to those trying to find us. This work is released under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Do what you want with it. Remix it, re-record it, transcribe it, share it. Just don't sell it or change the terms of the license. Your creation must be released under an Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.